creativity, businesses, any changes in technology, any new things that you all observed all over the world in which India was a part?
I think 2017 for Anibrain was a very, very exciting year. And when it's an exciting year for an Indian company, it's exciting for the entire industry. So I'll speak from our perspective. As you know, just the day before we made the announcement that Anibrain and Framestore get into a joint venture. And I think what was the most proud moment for us as an Indian company and as Indians who started the company, worked in the company and grown the company is that they didn't want it to become Framestore, but they valued the brand so much that it still remains Anibrain, and they have invested in the brand because they believe in the philosophy, the quality, everything that the company stands for. And I think that's really exciting. I think there have been a lot of big foreign companies that have been coming into India, like you have Legend, which is known for conversion. You have DD, which is expanding. You have the Technicolor group that's expanding. Indian VFX companies, Indian films, the VFX has really been growing. So I think it's a great year for the industry. Technologies can come and go, but I think the most important thing the industry is learning is that you have to genuinely love what you do. You have to be really, really uncompromising on quality, live up to commitments and produce consistently good work, and invest in an ecosystem, because at the end of the day, it's people who produce great work. So if you are creating great talent, it is going to pay off, and I think 2017 has been a good indicator of the same.
Madhu, you mentioned it was exciting for you in terms of seeing television produce the VFX kind of productions that they've rolled out. What else was of significance to you in 2017?
It is much more strange to me because, I was doing Indian films and where you had enough time. I mean, you had comparatively the television. Then when you move on to the West, you do international films, then you have years of time to do it, especially if you're a supervisor on set. But here it's, it's very difficult. We are filming at Umargaon, and we have a post-production facility in Mumbai. The traveling time is about 3 hours. And by the time we go film that and send the footages back here, and then, but the point is here, we have grown up with even the television industry. What the film industry was here for 7 years ago, now television industry has reached that point. So we are seeing some good quality visual effects, not only in Porous, but also in some of the serials, like what I'm saying now. So which means, because one of the things, very interesting point that I noted was, we were talking about Netflix and we were talking about Amazon and other television channels now. Now everybody's watching Game of Thrones or any other television serial which is heavy, visual effects heavy packed. So obviously there is an appetite, there is an understanding, and obviously the education, in terms of the visual effects animation industry has been really increased, and it was not the case in 2000, I would say even 2000. It was very rarely like we had few gems there, here and there. So 2017, I think it's a huge transformation in terms of for the small screen. And to me, coming from the large screen to small screen is quite an interesting thing for me in my career. So I had the luxury of time, I wanted the luxury of time, but then here I don't have anything. So I'm learning something new, which is very interesting to me.
So you're learning Jugaad?
Meaning, sorry, I don't know Hindi.
Jugaad is Indian innovation.
Okay.
In terms of getting the product out to market quickly. That your market is your broadcast.
Well, I mean, you're watching it. I mean, I won't say it's fantastic, but at least it's not bad.
What I meant is innovation in terms of process, in terms of workflows,
yes.
In terms of...
Yes, definitely yes. I mean, we have very strong pipeline, in terms of because to achieve this kind of quality in a given day, we need to have very strong pipeline, very strong understanding in terms of the very strong knowledge about things, how to solve it. To me, as a VFX supervisor, I would like to solve on set itself. The most of things can be sorted out on sets, so that the post-production could be much lighter to handle that. If you miss out something there, it's very difficult to handle back in production and post-production.
What about you, sir, in terms of 2017?
Basically, we have seen a lot of demand in terms of VFX. People have now started experimenting whole type of VFX which is required to do in film. Like we have now promoting more of a storyboards where you require a lot of VFX planning to be done. 2017 has seen a lot of announcement, a lot of period films coming and releasing in 2019 and 20. There is a growth, there is a demand for everything. That's what I would say. People are now getting educated, directors are willing to experiment the new things, and on the pre-production stage, they want to see how it looks, and that's how we're also getting into animatics and storyboards and previous and everything. That's helping them a lot.
So you said it's increased this year. Let's say 3 years, let's say the year before last, it was 2 directors out of 50 who were considering this. So has it increased? 3 years ago, it must have been 2. Has it gone up to 5? Has it gone up to 10 out of 50 who are willing to look at VFX and invest with the producer?
I think every movie is now undergoing a VFX version. There's a certain portion, I say minimum of 5 minutes, which starts from the smaller movies, and got requirements for that. Because shooting sometimes is more expensive than doing the VFX. So I could say it's 3 times, the period the demand has gone 3 times. So every
just in the last 1 year.
Last 1 year, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from you. I mean, just your broad perspective on what were the major trends, developments for industry, for you, and for India as a whole as compared to the global markets?
I think I'll start with saying what happened to NY VFXWAALA in 2017. 2017 was a very exciting time for NY VFXWAALA. It started off with a national award for Shivai. Then there were a series of film awards which encouraged us to do better job. And the year ended with finishing VFX for Padmavat, which was the most controversial film of this year. And you have seen the film, and I guess most of you all have seen the film. And we all know that the VFX industry as such is exponentially growing. I mean, we can always compare the same director making the film last year to this year. The same director. The amount of VFX which has increased is about, say, Yogesh has said 3 times, I would say 10 times. So that's my personal experience from the same director making films in different times of the year. So I think it's phenomenal. I mean, it's great.
And in terms of the understanding the process or the pipeline, is it coming from backward, or are you having to again resort to a lot of forward solutions when you're working with films?
It has to be moving forward always. I mean, we cannot go back what we did last year or last year, because technology is something which keeps transforming, and we have to be part of the transformation. If you're not part of the transformation, then we are not growing ourselves as an industry.
What I meant is that, is there a lot of pre-planning happening?
Yes. I mean,
that's what I meant,
yeah.
Not going backward, I meant...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-planning, I can say we are involved from the point of scripting a film in today's time. It wasn't the case 5 years ago. It wasn't the case 3 years ago also. But then now we are basically involved from the writing level. I mean, the writer asks us whether this can be achieved, how can we achieve, can we write this. So we are the ones who actually can take this industry forward by encouraging such writing.
Fantastic. Hi. What about you? I mean, you've got a lot of local work going, or is it still just international work where you're like an outsourced arm?
Yeah. So for 2017 for us, I can say, we have done a lot of projects, like 3 to 4 projects in India, and that's good because for us, I can say 2017 was a year of acceptance for people and taking risks, because coming from that side and selling a motion capture to them, what motion capture is, it's sometimes explaining them how difficult, it gets difficult, but then people are learning new things, they're accepting this thing, and then they're realizing, okay, this is a lot cheaper than what it's expected. There's a myth that motion capture is quite expensive, but then when they do it, it's quite cheaper, and people are accepting those risks of going.
So you had 3-4 projects, but coming in from which studios in India?
So there's one which we did for Panasonic, which was done by Famous Studios. There was a game, Sachin's game, which came out, and there are 2 more projects which we are not able to name it because it's still going to be released.
So it's not still coming in, acceptance is not coming in from mainstream Bollywood. They'd rather, I know Contour has got its own facial capture, motion capture technology, mocap, but it's not coming in from Bollywood, really. Or is it coming in?
So the reason it's not coming from Bollywood is because we're yet to set up our own motion capture setup in India. So that's what's the reason in this week itself we are officially announcing a signed contract with Famous Studio. So we'll be setting up in their location. They have the sound stages in Mahalakshmi, so we'll be setting up there. And then then we are approaching Bollywood so that it's easier for them also to travel across in Mumbai and shoot it. Since we were not in Mumbai, everything was happening through in UK itself till now. So yes, that's the reason.
So congratulations. So you're going to have another. Turnaround times will be quicker.
Yes.
Ability to take corrective actions will be very much there. So great. Now, in terms of what is needed to take this, accelerate this further? What has the industry done right in the past 2 years to get it to this level, and what could we do more to get it further? Each of you will give us your views.
I think, Disney was not built in a day. It took many, many years. It's a people-centric industry, and it came to India, relatively a lot later than it was in the Western countries. And I think over the years, people have become better, artists have become better, a lot more people have been exposed to it and want to be part of it. So the talent pool has increased. Additionally, we have been able to understand, because of technology, communication technology, we are exposed to the best films, the best content from the entire world. And that is allowing us to create content which keeps pace with it. So I think it's the people, it's the evolution of talent, technology, the budgets increasing that have all led to coming to this stage. Also, I think we've reached a point where, rather than just being a roto, paint and match move destination, we have now become more creative, where Indian studios are doing, value added work like compositing, asset creation, full sequence shots, animation. And I think that is a really, really exciting thing. And that, if we can keep that momentum going and keep on finessing our skills, that's going to be the next, stepping stone to being a global player or global leader in the industry, according to me.
Yeah. Madhu, just wanted to also hear from you. How much of a role have the stars played in building this, like Ajay, Shah Rukh, Bahubali? How much have these played in terms of pushing the envelope on?
See, listen. The next technology that I would expect that which will have which we need for India is performance capture, because there are many actors are aging. They want to look young. They want to, I did about 3 years ago with Kamal Hassan, same thing. But then we don't have that kind of facility now. Centroid is coming inside, so I don't know much about the plans, but I think even the actors now, they started believing in that. They want to have a studio by themselves, which helps them a lot. Even for Porus also, that's the reason that they had. Because the flexibility and understanding, and if you want to, as Naveen said, if you want to start something, a new concept, they have a studio with them already, which can create a lot of concept designs for the actor and think with the possibility of doing it or not. So I think that really helps. Technology-wise, as I said, yes, that's one thing which we are missing at this point in time. Either you have to go to United States or you have to go to England, or maybe, I'm not sure about Australia, but this is where we have to go to the performance capture, where you have to take the actors there and do all those things. Other than that, I think we have covered almost everything, because being a lot more international companies have come in, I think the talent pool has increased and the base has increased and the knowledge power has increased. And as I said, like what it was in 2000 and what it is today is totally different, very different. And many of Indians have worked on many Hollywood blockbusters right now. They're working on it. So the exposure is much, much wider and larger for them to understand things and to work at par with Hollywood artists, basically.
Yeah, one question is, well, you take the talent on board. Do they have to unlearn and relearn? Or are you getting good talent coming even at the entry level?
No, we are learning every day. It's not that so we expert on anything. Every day the technology keeps changing. Now, what's happening is, for instance, there is something called cinematography. It's a hybrid between visual effects and cinematography. They're merging together. So when you see one eye through your camera, the other eye through visual effects. That's what's happening right now. So it's more of a collaborative work which is happening. And technology is like merging all departments together. The production design, cinematography, or visual effects all coming together right now. So, and to support that, even the technology at the core also changing every day. We're getting new software coming in, days are going to come in like where you can shoot without chroma, and you can clean it up everything. And so, which means the rotor is going to go away slowly. All these are happening, it's just a matter of time. So we are also learning every day. Every day.
Is the talent pool coming in brighter, more creative, more open? Is the talent pool improving, or are the educational institutes really giving out more of the stuff which is not studio ready?
It's not about the institutions, but basically any artists who are coming into this, they should have the passion. If they don't have passion, like however best the institute is, they're not going to learn anything from that. That's one thing. And then there should be a constant interaction with the industry practitioners, with institutions, and to understand and to take our suggestions to them, and then pass them to the students. I don't know how many institutes are doing that here in India right now.
Yeah, and to you, the same question. My belief is that the stars getting behind this has given an impetus to VFX. He doesn't agree, he doesn't seem to be concurring, but I believe that's really made a difference.
Depends on how many movies he's going to produce and act into it.
So, but it reached to an inspirational spin-off where other people also would like to.
It creates a lot of competition, I would say that. Like what Madhu was saying about the talent pool, we have a limited talent pool. We are not churning out good quality people which we wanted because there's no formal education for the VFX. So that's why it's creating a lot of shortage in the talent pool.
Yeah, but he's got an institute where.
But we don't see it, in Bombay, we have been getting a lot of freshers now to do it. But I think they're not been guided in the right way by the institute also, which I've been talking to the institutes to at least make them understand how the VFX works, just by churning out and then getting them in and giving them internship somewhere. It's not going to be right, because I've seen people coming and working for 1 month and they just run away. They suddenly realize that it's not for them and they just go out from the industry.
So I'm lost.
So
do you agree?
I think it works for a producer. For an actor, it works if he has his own studio. Because when you give out to other studio and you're paying that money, it pinches him. But when you have an in-house and he's also a producer, I think he will like it. Fine too.
Great. So is Ajay looking at this as a business, or are you all looking at it as a business, or is it creativity? Do you all want to be world class? Do you want to produce stuff which is outstanding, which could win you an Oscar at some stage? I mean, what's the idea behind going forward?
Ajay sir just happened to be an individual who is a star also. So keeping that aside, what I think is every filmmaker needs to understand, in India at least, what could be done with VFX and what could not be done.
Just two guys have understood, Shah and Ajay, right?
No, it's not. Yeah, I mean, just because they are.
Kamala Hassan, maybe. He did Mrs. Dog 5 years ago.
That's because they are into this business. But then I would not take it that way. If anyone sitting here has a passion to put up a studio, then probably they would put up a studio. It's about the interest. It's a coincidence that they also happen to be a star. So I would not take it that way. But then yes, it gives a lot of encouragement, because in India, Bollywood is run by stars. We know Salman Khan, no matter who directs the film. So that itself is a value addition where a role model himself is interested to basically get into VFX, and probably it gives a lot of encouragement to the people learning VFX or who want to get into VFX. So I look at from a point where it's more encouraging to the industry, to the VFX industry especially, because they have come up with VFX studios.
So would you encourage more of these guys to get into VFX, these stars, or do you think that's not needed? 2 guys is enough.
It's not that. It's not that. I mean, see, it's a personal choice. I mean, Amir Khan is a bigger star than everybody. He hasn't put any VFX studio, but then he comes to us.
He uses method acting
or whatever. I mean,
kidding. Okay.
I mean, he produces films, And we have done all American films. So that doesn't mean that he would put a VFX studio. So it varies individual to individual. It's a choice. It's an interest. It's a passion. Shahrukh, Ajay, we are talking about them because they have come up and opened up a VFX studio. Tomorrow, I would urge, everybody in the film industry to come and open up a VFX studio if they're interested.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's exactly what I was looking for. Now, what are the skill sets? Like you were saying, matchmaking, roto, we've gone beyond that. So, in terms of understanding of the process, has it increased? Not by you all, but by the ecosystem. So they understand that there's a cost attached to this, that this is what you can achieve. Is there enough evangelization happening? And will that should that be increased? Will it increase? Will 2018 see a better year ahead?
Sorry, so are you asking will we like outprice ourselves?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about awareness in the whole ecosystem for producers and directors who are not really resorting to VFX, but who we could evangelize and get them to come on our side and build the industry further by investing in it.
Right. So I think this is a very interesting question, and you mentioned Salman Khan's name, and you were like, no one knows the directors. So yeah, while there are stars like, let's say, Ajay Devgan or Shah Rukh Khan, who've been doing very interesting stuff, like let's say with Fan, he's experimenting with a younger face, or now he's playing a dwarf, or even with Ravan, he tried to break, what has been done with VFX. But I think the Indian writers, directors, producers, audiences are like, okay, if there's a Salman film and he just shakes his belt, that makes them happy, and then there lies the whole problem, right? But I think this will change eventually because there is a lot more new people coming up, new talent, and the people who want to see things that are completely, like the production value is very, very high overall. So that will happen. I don't think we can evangelize anyone. I think, people...
The industry as a whole, like he's got his Visual Effects Society, which is there. Correct me. So can we resort to more evangelization to in the ecosystem?
It's not about Visual Effects Society or any association can change this. See, basically, I see it slightly different. The actors, this country is actor-centric. Yeah, unlike the international market is like content-centric. So the problem here is totally different. It depends on who's acting, who's the lead. So we go for that film. That's one of the reasons that why the animation industry hasn't picked up yet. There's a slow progress in the animation industry per se, is because of this. If people started liking about content, then yes, we could have had Disney 5 years ago here. And that's one of the slow. That's the same impact that we also have in visual effects industry. So that attracts a larger budget, which supports larger VFX. Which gives us more time to do it. So it's all more of actor-centric. So the actor has to have a bit understanding about visual effects as well, or the director. In a team.
Could we take steps? Putting this session as a part of this was our way of giving a lot of impetus to the VFX industry, evangelizing a little more. That's why we decided to have a composite with animation, visual effects, comics. Like Abhijit said, comics is struggling. They're struggling over there. So we wanted this session to be a bit of an evangelical kind of an exercise. So that's what I'm expressing to you.
Yeah. See, in a team between director and actor, who's more powerful? It all depends on his ability. Now, but if you take it Bahubali, when that happened, neither Prabhas nor Rana, they were not superstars that time. But you had a superstar director. So there was a budget was given to him.
And you had a producer believed in it.
Yeah.
In the director.
So same thing happened with even in the West also sometimes it happens. Look at Lord of the Rings. Can you name one superstar in that? Nothing. So here maybe one of those films, like where you pick up some actors and then you make them superstars. It doesn't happen all the time. And also you don't get that kind of a big budget movies like say every year. It's like once in 2 years. Like if now you get Shankar's 2.0 is coming up. It's once in 2 years, once in 3 years you get that kind of films to work on it. So I think it's as long as it's actor-centric, it's very difficult to break that chain and get them into our side.
Work the other way. Get the actors to push it like Ajay is doing it for them. Work the other way.
Well, it happens because again, those kind of actors they make a film for a year. So that during that period, if that studio is occupied only in that work, internal work, they miss out the outside work many times. It has got its own, plus and minus, pros and cons as well.
Great. Can I have any questions from the audience? Can we have the house lights? Yeah. Yeah. Identify yourself and what exactly.
Hello sir, my name is Rashid Pradhan. I'm studying VFX in Muslim right now. So my question was, since you talked about there is not much creativity in the people working in the industry right now, and I sometimes feel that it's more about like learning just the software and the tools, and it's blindly putting whatever the supervisor is saying. So how do you think the creativeness in those artists should come from? Like where? Is it fine art? Should they learn fine arts? Or what should they pursue before, like, is it just like from working in the studios they'll learn the creative process?
Well, I'm glad you asked this question because at Anibrain we have our own school for VFX as well. And I think the most important thing is not to get bogged down by the software or the tech or the craft. It's about just being really passionate about. If you're doing compositing, you should do alternative arts like photography. You should understand. You should see spaces, colors, lights. Go to museums, read books. It's all about expanding the mind. The magic does not happen on the software. The magic happens in yourself, in your mind, in being able to improve your aesthetics, your color palette, your ability to compose something, your ability to be able to make a decision. I like this as opposed to this because I like the proportions of this, or I like the colors of this, or see artists, you see the work of several artists who you like and understand why you like them and what is it, why do you like maybe a Picasso more than a Rembrandt, or why do you like X more than Y, and spend more time just in exploring and expanding your mind rather than bothering about a software, because a tool is very easy to acquire the knowledge, but it takes years and years to develop the mind. And as any artist practicing any form, you have to be exposed completely in life, and that exposure will only help you in your work. That's my take. Yeah.
So,
Did you get the answer?
Yeah, perfectly. One other question I had.
Please go ahead.
Why do you think artists are leaving the industry like frequently just after joining? As you said a month ago, artists leave. What is the major reason for that?
Lack of patience. I've been counseling a lot of artists. I'll tell you, first of all, I'm against a lot of institutes because they are not taking the formal education. It has to be educated. See, there has to be a degrees, to be provided. I've seen a lot of artists getting into industry, they earn 10, then they jump the other company, they go for 20, then they go for 50. So between the 25 to 50, you have started earning, and then you've taken loans, you got married, now you want the school kids to be in a good school. And all of a sudden, you find, okay, you have reached a saturation level, then you don't want to compromise on it. And you feel you're a great artist, but at the studios doesn't have a budget to hire you, or they think you're not that creative. And that's how then they find, okay, I'm not satisfied with my work, I need to change the industry. I've seen a lot of friends also changing the industry in that way. So the passion is what is the meaning, selling it. We need to have passion to grow. Like I've seen, to be very honest, we have a lack of VFX supervisors, I would say, in my 8 or 10 years, which I've been, like Naveen, Prasad, Girls, and myself, we've been growing and working since 8 years together. And I've been in the industry for 15 years, but I've only seen the handful of VFX supervisors. Like I've seen Mr. Madhu for 10, 20 years. From the time I've entered, there's a lack of people who have the passion to grow. So you should be able to stand out among the 10,000, okay, this is the guy, who's going to go and grow structure. Companies are ready to invest in the right people. There's no limitations to earn money. Okay, but it's only the passions. You don't get carried away with the other salaries of your colleagues, and then you lose your path. That's what I would say.
Doesn't the VFX industry pay well? That's why people are jumping.
It does pay well, but if you have to stick to one, like patience, I would say again, that you need to stick to the company, make yourself grow. That's what it is. You should make your name, but you just can't keep on shuffling the companies for 10,000. Naveen, I would ask Naveen to look into you say something.
I don't think it pays well.
No, I think there's a lot of negative talks of the VFX.
But he should really get into a VFX.
No, you really
outfit.
need to get into VFX because I need you, and we need people.
Give the job offer.
And
You
we
don't
need
have to.
people who can take this industry ahead. This is a very minority, very small section of the total population that we are talking about. And competition, being impatient, switching of jobs, it's part of all industries across. So this is not an exception in that case. If you are interested, do what you like, do it with interest, have patience, concentrate. Softwares are just the tools. You have to tell the software what needs to be done. So as he rightly said, you need to understand everything around how it looks like. If this light is here, how would it affect if the light is from that side? So that's the study that you have to explore by yourself. That will come only if you are interested to do that. That will come out of your own passion. I mean, institutes, I would say, institutes are something which needs to probably have more practical studio kind of experience that the students need to have. But then at the same time, I will not expect anybody to basically do MBBS and he becomes a good doctor as soon as he comes out of the college. It needs time, it needs patience. So work towards it. It will take you where you want to be.
And this is the only industry which pays you to make movies and watch movies. So, no other industry.
Thanks.
Yeah, so, but are we? Yeah, please.
I think VFX is really good because I think the kind of increments you get on a yearly basis, very few industries get you that 20, 30, 50, 100. It depends on your potential. But also I feel that somewhere the industry needs to be a little more, responsible towards young people coming in. I don't think we are very, very responsible. We accuse people of switching jobs, but when we need people, we increase salaries by double and poach, and then
That increase in 2017?
Yeah, and then we say, okay.
How high did attrition go?
Attrition was like, whoever had...
40%?
I mean, see, I'll tell you what, right now we are in a position where we were, it used to be in a position where like thrice a year, it would be like a bloodbath, but over time we slowly understood that if you want loyalty of someone, you've got to be loyal first. And if you take care of your people, and you genuinely care about your people, after a couple of times, there will be a core team that understands that, okay, I might be getting a 50% increment now, but that is because someone needs me. As soon as that is over, I might not get an increment for 2-3 years, or I might not be the salary I am paid. So I think we have also got to somewhere be very, very careful of how we position ourselves in times of needs, because it can spoil dynamics. Also, I think one of our proudest achievements is today in a company. In our school, we have degree courses, but we have small courses for 6 months. And we find that today a lot of our core team is built up by people who come from tier 2, tier 3 cities, whose parents could not afford a 3-year degree course or 2-year diploma. But in this 6-month course, we don't teach them whole of VFX. We teach them either roto or paint, but we teach them so that they can get that first job. They can get that chula burning. And once that happens, once you're in a studio, you start progressing. And to see them buy their car, buy their bikes, buy their first house, go on the first foreign holiday, is what the company should be about. And to be able to say, okay, there's this guy who's had so much passion, but just because he was financially weak, he could not become a lawyer, doctor, whatever, but this is an industry where he can come and he can better his lot going forward. And today the parents are staying with them, they're able to take their medical. I mean, that is the best thing about Anibrain personally,
Well, that's a lovely pitch you just made. Fantastic. I don't know whether Naveen would agree, but that's a lovely pitch.
I agree to that completely.
He is being a very developmental professional right now to help the industry. But what's going to keep you excited in 2018? The next 10 months, and what do we need to do that would help us further, going further?
It's really, really simple. Sometimes it's so simple that it becomes really tough. Is we've just got to not compromise on quality, deliver on time consistently, and make sure that because it's an industry of the people, we stick with the people. We give them right career guidance. We ensure when they come in that they are inducted well. We chalk out career paths for them, and we understand that it's okay to pay them a little more and make them develop so that they're able to do world-class work. Because at the end of the day, in some time there will be other countries that might become cheaper than us in mechanical stuff.
So how cheap are we really?
It's not a question of cheap. I think today we are getting in a sweet spot because we are able to value add. The cost versus the amount of creativity that we do, along with the convenience of being able to converse in English well, is a huge advantage. So if we keep on increasing our talent, we might be a little expensive than maybe another country, but because of our creative, we are giving higher quality and our communication will be great, we will still be in an advantage. So we need to invest in people. That is it. According to
Sudhanan, and in terms of what's going to keep you excited in the next 10, 11 months, is it Boris gets over after 252
No, we
episodes?
are moving on to movies. We're expanding to movies.
So that's going to keep you excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be back where I belong to, rather
In Swastik, it's under one line.
That's right, yes.
Fantastic. What about you?
2018 is going to be challenging for us. We are full of work, and I think we're also in an expansion phase. As a startup, when we started in 2016, we didn't know that we are going to grow in such a way. But yeah, there's a lot of projects which are coming up, and we have signed up for the next 2 years.
So can you name some of them?
Mostly with Excel Entertainment, we have got 3 films, and few I cannot name it as a point.
And as far as OTT is concerned, have you got a lot of projects on OTT?
No, we are mainly focusing on the feature films. So, hardcore feature film, not on Netflix or.
Okay. What about you?
Sorry, what was the question? 2008.
Shit, it's such a horrible question you forgot. I'll wake you up, I'll give you some coffee.
Well, 2018, obviously there are a lot of projects. Apart from that, I'm happy for the fact that we're moving on to a bigger space, taken a new office, expanding to the double size that we are right now. So it's pretty exciting in that sense. Projects. Only one project which I think I can tell you right now is our home production, which is Tanaji, which will start by mid of this year. That's a period biopic of Tansen Malsure. Apart from that, yeah, pretty interesting projects, and we're also trying what Anibrain is trying to, which Anibrain has already done and set up examples for us. So we are trying and moving on to the path what the big people sitting here has done.
So what, you're looking for another Mike McGee, or you're looking for an institute, or you're looking for...
Another, sorry?
Mike McGee is the partner.
All right, no.
That's a frame store.
Education is something which always excites me personally, because as everybody of us feel that there is something which is missing, which the current institutes are offering to the students, which we might be able to do a better job on that.
So you're setting up an institute.
It's a thought, it's not yet confirmed, but yes, we're thinking on those lines.
Fantastic. What about you? What's keeping your head office and you excited? You said you're moving into famous studio with your own facilities, so how busy is that going to keep you in the coming year?
Well, since we will start setting up in April, and I think there are lots of projects which are, we have been in talk with the production houses and also with the VFX houses, and also with this gentleman on the stage whom we are in talk with. So yeah, hopefully a big year for us also, since we are setting up. So we are just a baby in India right now, but looking forward to get mature by year.
Yeah, do you expect rates to go north this year or go south, since a lot of you are starting to compete now?
Wow, I don't know. That's a very tricky question. I don't think rates will go north or south. I think they'll stay where they are, because I don't think the rates are going to change. What I think will change is the kind of work that's coming in, and that is going to be the most exciting thing. I think the rates will stay fine. Yeah.
What about each one of you before we head off?
There's always a saying that we never complete a job, we always abandon a job in visual effects industry. So we compare that way, like someone has to tell us, someone has to hammer us to say that stop it here. You know, so that is one part. The second part is like I think I don't see the rates are going down. It's going to go up because the volume of business, like every film needs something to.
Yeah, the number of shots and the number of...
It's always increasing. And as I said, cinematography and visual effects are merging together. So which means like, you know, you pretty much almost have every other shot, special effects shot in movies.
And then we'll shut after that.
Okay, we are just educating the producer director that the value addition in the VFX gets to them. And that's why we're trying to get the rates up and the budgets. That's what I say, we are trying to educate them.
What about you?
I think, like you too, Yogesh, it's the awareness which will make the producers, the directors to basically see the value in it and pay for it. So
You're not answering. Is it going up or what do you really see?
it's going up. I don't see it coming down.
See it being steady, you see it going up, you see it going...
So I think I and Naveen are talking mostly about
Same.
Bollywood.
Bollywood, yeah.
You're talking about Bollywood.
Yeah. We are Indians.
Global scenario in terms of Indians, all right. Any other questions before we depart from here?
So just an addition in that, so even if the rates go up and down, it has to go more towards the post-production, like the VFX side, you know, rather than going to the big cast, because that's what I've been seeing in 2017. As Mr. Madhu said, you know, it's more towards star-centric, you know, it has to go towards how the films are being made, you know.
Yeah, but I'm not getting anyone echoing what you're saying, apart from Madhusudan. Everyone else is saying they're going to study, they're going to go north. They're not saying that, you know, more budget needs to come towards VFX. None of them are saying the old thing they used to say, beating their chest and wailing. You're the only guy who came and wailed right now.
I'll tell you one small, which I don't know many people know about it. One of the films is going to releasing next year, or this year maybe, I don't know. The climax about for 10 minutes. They spent 75 crores, one for the climax.
I love them for it.
In India.
May they try to increase.
All of us, we know who's the person behind it, but I'm just telling you, I can't name it here. But then, for 10 minutes of work, they spent 75 crores from India.
May they try to increase. That's all I'm
saying that this is like, this is not a common phenomenon. It's not going to happen every
But it's a one-off, right, like
yes.
you said.
But it started happening, that's what I'm saying.
Great. Thank you very much, all of you. I hope you all found this session.
Somebody wants to...
Okay.
Hi, so my name is Shreyas, I'm from Pixely Studios, and so most of these companies are Indian, except of course Centroid. So my question was relating to artists. How do we see artists coming in or growing when we don't have a proper source of it, and especially with companies like MPC coming in and slaying off artists at twice the salary? How do you see them growing? Like Anibrain has an institute of itself, and they're churning in artists in-house.
But he's looking at an institute also.
Sorry?
He's looking at an institute.
He's looking at an institute. So how else do we look at it? I don't see anyone other than AppTech churning out students, and even that's a limited number, and those students are not completely ready to be studio professional artists. So how do you see artists growing and the studios growing with them, especially with the amount of work coming in regularly in India?
Venture also.
Well, so one thing that we do is, other than run our school, we have something called boot camps. So let's say, if you know that a certain amount of work is going to be coming in, and there are people who have passed out from other institutes who we have not selected in the first round, then let's say there's a boot camp for match move, or there's a boot camp for tracking, or for roto or paint, and we take these people for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, and we train them for free. And it's just like production, where we like take their skills and hone it, so that they're not only able to just do work, but they're able to work under pressure. They're able to like really finesse it. That's an initiative that we're doing on our end. But I think I really hope you do open the school, and I really hope a lot more studios. MPC is also running something where they are training the MPC Academy. I think Framestore. A lot of companies are thinking about it. There are companies like Mac, there are companies, I'm not talking whether everyone is really good, bad, there's a lot for all of us to learn, even our school, but it's going to happen, like how it took 10, 12, 15 years for us to come to where we are. I think the students will come. Water finds its path, and it's going to happen. We just need people to be passionate and say, I want to do this. Once you decide you want to do, somehow you end up doing it. It's quite magical, it's mysterious, but it's fascinating. Let it be. Let's not try and answer everything. But if you want to do it, just go for it. At some point, you will reach it, somehow or the other.
Yeah, I'm making an offer to you, Madhu. We are willing to partner with you on evangelization in whichever way we can on the VS society.
First of all, before taking you one step, just dream. Dream is the first step towards any success. Now, I was born and brought up in a small village. I had a dream. I never thought that, in fact, very interestingly, like Kamal Haasan was my matinee idol. I never knew that I'm going to work with him. And when I started dreaming about doing one Hollywood film, it took me there. So I think the passion and the dream is what you need to have. If you have those two qualities, I think, somebody has got the Oscars already, right? So we know the way, how to go there. It's only that the effort and the passion to go there. The opportunity will come, definitely will come. So you have to keep your eyes and ears open, and it will happen.
And you didn't take up my offer. We'll work closely with you to push the entire. You don't want to take it up as the VES.
VES what? VES?
Animation Express.
Right.
We'll work with you.
Okay. 2005?
Yeah, that's when we.
Yeah. So.
But then kind of lost its way in between.
Yeah, it was very real. The Visual Effects Society, like you need to have about 50 members to have a section here, which is again, it's very interesting because Visual Effects Society has got a lot more verticals inside. You have an education committee, you have an outreach committee, you have an R&D committee. There are many verticals in that. So one of the qualifications to be part of that is like you need to have 5 years of experience, as an industry professional, and there will be 2 endorsements to be done from the members. In 2005, we had a 6-city tour, to promote Visual Effects Society at that time, and I became the first one in 2003. I thought like it was a lot of value addition that I started seeing in it, so I thought like all my fellow Indians should have that. But it's very strange, if you have a 50-member team, then you can have a section by yourself here, and then which will bring in a lot more benefits to this country. I couldn't make the 50-member team for 6-7 years. It's very strange.
Can you listen? It's a larger ecosystem. Can you make that happen? Do we have? No.
It has happened now. It has happened today, this month. Yeah. I started in 2003 in making that happen. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So we need to grow it further rather than keep it stagnant.
We need 50 account. It was strange, and it happened to a larger extent because of Double Negative and Prana, because Tim McGowan who was the outreach committee chair.
Yeah.
He was part of Double Negative, and he brought in some guys from Double Negative, and then also Prana, like some of them came from US. I think Eric Roth was
Tim's still around, or he's gone back? Tim?
No, Tim is back here.
Okay,
Tim is back here. Yeah. So those 2 studios were major.
So we have a lot of others. Let them
Yeah,
also.
that's what I'm saying. So these guys should come on board.
So are you on board? Do we have a commitment?
Yes.
I think. Yeah. I met Viral. Yeah, Viral is part of it.
So let's move this further. Thanks, and a round of applause to all of them. Thank you.